Hi, my name is Erika, I'm a knitter from Brazil, and you are watching every Sophie I ever knitted. If you haven't been knitting for long, you probably are thinking, Sophie? What Sophie? What's a Sophie? What kind of garment is that? Well, it's not one kind of garment, it's one line, one family of patterns by Petite Knit. Uh, Probably you already heard about her, which each of these patterns, when they were released, they kind of broke the internet, or at least they broke the knitting community that started to knit them left and right and knit a lot of them. I knitted most of them a little after the time when the wave happened, but I ended up knitting the three patterns from the family. And I knitted the Sophie Scarf so many times that I have 8 items to show in this video. That's why I decided to make a separate video for my Sophie accessories and keep them separate from my other accessories. So let's dive in. First pattern I knitted, like many other people, was the Sophie Scarf. I did not knit it when it was just released. It was released July 2022 and a lot of people knitted it. It has, I think, over 30,000 projects on Ravelry, and it's always in the hot right now because people keep knitting it. So my one was knitted more than 1 year after the wave, and it's this one. I really love it, honestly. You can see it. I think the color is awesome for me. And why did I pick it? To be honest, at first I also didn't see the appeal of a garter stitch scarf. You will see that I actually knit a lot of garter, even though I don't find garter especially beautiful, but I do find it very relaxing. So that's the thing. And also it's quite simple. And this yarn, I picked the project because of the yarn. I think in the 3 cases I knitted a Sophie family for myself, this was the reason. My birthday is September 8th, and then a little earlier than that, I bought myself a luxurious fiber, a small ball of 50 grams of merino cashmere silk. It's 70% merino, 22% silk, 8% cashmere, and it had very little meterage. I think only a little bit over 100 meters. So I didn't have many projects that I could choose from to knit with it because the meterage was so low. And I thought, well, a very luxurious fiber like that, to have it around my neck will be pleasant. And also, if I combine a luxurious fiber with a very simple design, I could have a very useful accessory. Actually, this is my line of thinking with most of Petite Knit stuff. I don't used to knit her. I've knitted very little things by her because I think her designs are so simple that they need luxurious fibers to actually shine, to actually be worthy to face the tedious project of knitting a sea of stockinette or garter stitch. Well, then I bought this for me for my birthday, and it was my birthday cast on. Actually, I cast on in the following day. I cast it on September 9 and I finished it September 11. It flew from the needles. The touch of the fiber was very pleasant, and making this is very addictive because you see it advance very quickly. I think that's part of the appeal. You will be increasing in a very fast pace, and you see the length adding and adding and adding. And of course, the decrease part is a little bit less quick. Anyways, it's still pleasant because it's not a very long pattern. You see, I knitted it in 3 days. There are people who knit it in 3 hours. I knitted it in a 4.5 millimeter needles. My gauge was, I believe, 26 stitches and 37 rows. But when I blocked it, the most notable thing about it is that it grew as crazy. It grew almost 40 centimeters. It had 97.5 centimeters of length when I finished it. And after I blocked it, the stitches relaxed so much. You can see they're quite distant here. And it grew until 1 meter and 31 centimeters, 131 centimeters. And the width shrunk a little bit too, because when it grows in length, the fabric stretches and it shrinks a little bit. It shrunk only 1 centimeter. At first, when I finished it, I couldn't really wrap it twice around my neck. I knitted the size small. This scarf comes in 2 sizes, small and large, and it couldn't wrap twice around my neck. Now, after I blocked it, I can comfortably do that. And the thing is, at first I didn't find it practical, but I finished it in the very end of the winter, so I didn't wear it very much in 2023. When 2024 came, I worn it so much that I decided to knit it for all the women in my family. We will talk about them, but first let's talk about the Sophie Shawl, which I knitted kinda at the same time as this one. Again, I picked it because of the yarn. This time it wasn't a luxurious fiber, but it was souvenir. You can see it. Now, if you compare those two, you see that one of them has a color much more suitable for me than this one. And that's the reason why I don't really wear it as much. You can see the color is so pretty on its own. When I saw this yarn, I was in love because it's like chocolate you wanna eat, and the cream one, also beautiful. I bought it in a trip with my boyfriend, and I wanted to remember the trip. It was very nice, and I bought it in a shop that sells Japanese stuff, all kinds of stuff, and they had some knitting supplies there. And this was a wool blend. I almost can't find wool blends here. I will talk another day about yarn in Brazil. Anyway, the name of the yarn was Daiso 3-ply wool blend, and it is 80% acrylic, 20% wool. You can see that the composition of it, look at the texture. The stitches are very defined. I believe this yarn would be great to knit something cabled. So in that place, the skeins were very tiny. They were 50 grams only. And so I couldn't make much with them. They didn't have much meterage. So I bought 3 brown and 2 white. And just when I left the shop, I typed in my Ravelry queue and typed the meterage and the weight, in this case worsted. And what came up with that meterage was the Sophie Shawl, was the first option that came up. As I said, my queue is not really a queue. It's more like a curated favorites. I'm interested in knitting that, but someday maybe. So I search stuff in my queue because this is already pre-selected. I should have chosen one of them. I should have chosen only the brown or only the white. Maybe if this was a single color, I would wear it more. But nonetheless, I couldn't resist. I couldn't pick. So I brought both and I made this difference here. This is pretty long. It's more than 2 meters long. It's a size medium. It wraps around me very nicely. It also grew a lot in blocking, maybe because it has a little bit of wool. I think all of these designs are very clever in including this I-cord edge, because if they didn't have the I-cord, I think it would be all shapeless, because the I-cord contains a little bit of the growth so that it grows, but it doesn't get shapeless. I would wrap around it. Maybe in the future I will, but if I do it now, I'm going to die from the heat. So let's leave it for another time, but I will show you pictures so you can see it entirely. I have named it my Café Au Lait Sophie Shawl because of the color combination. And this I copied from another project because I needed to change the color. So I checked from the tones of projects that are there, and I saw some with 2 colors. I filtered from the ones that used more than 1 color, and I saw that someone made this transition. You can see here it's not reversible, but it doesn't look ugly in the other side as well, just different, so it's okay. I use it in the winter. I use it mostly at home because this is not a color I wear very much. I would never give it away because, as I said, it's souvenir yarn and I like it. This brings me good memories and it keeps me warm in the winter. So here it is, my Sophie Shawl. Well, then the next things I have knitted were a lot of Sophie scarves. I didn't bring them here because I have already given them away, and I made 5 of them in the space of 1 month and a little bit. As I said, when the winter came here last year, actually still in the autumn when it got cold, I started to wear my Sophie scarf a lot. So I thought this would be an amazing gift knit. I think every woman in my family should have one of them because they are pretty useful. It's pretty useful to wrap around your neck and you are kind of free. Because with the shawl is pretty big. If you wrap it around you, your range of movement is a bit limited. But if you do it with the scarf, it's just in the neck and it doesn't overheat you and you have your movement completely free. So I decided to make each of them one Sophie scarf. My mom and my sisters, I asked which colors they wanted theirs, and then I also made one for my grandma and one for my boyfriend's mom, which both of them I picked the color according to colors they like and that suited them. I will pop them all in the streets here with the names of them, but just in case, my mom's is the black one, My sister's is the burgundy. My grandma and my older sister have the brown ones, and the mother of my boyfriend has the pink one. I made them all with worsted weight yarn, Nina by Fios Pingouin. The Sophie Shawl I knitted in 5mm. The Sophie Scarves I knitted in 4.5. I don't know, I did not take note of the gauge this time, and the yarn I used was 100% acrylic, both for the possibility of buying it in bulk and also for ease of care. As I was going to give it away, it's good that the people would be able then to wash them normally without fear of ruining the gift. Because my one, I wash it by hand. The others, I don't know, I couldn't force people to wash it by hand. Each of them took very little yarn. This is also one of the reasons why I decided to pick them. I have knitted, as I say, 5 in the range of 1 month, so it was between 3-4 days, 1 week for each. And I was knitting other things in this meanwhile. They were all knitted between May 27 and July 1st in the previous year. And the colorways were, as I said, brown, black, pink, and burgundy. I will leave the numbers in the description in case you want to copy it. Well, they are distributed. I think the people like it. The people who live with me, they all wore it a lot. But then I wanted to knit more of them. I wanted to knit for my friends too. I wanted to knit all of them Sophie scarves, but I was tired of knitting Sophie scarves. After 1 month of knitting them back to back, I was tired of them, so I kept the yarn stored and I ended up not using them. I'm using part of the skins for my temperature blanket, and I have used one of them for another thing, for which I have used also the scraps from all the Sophie scarves that I have knitted. Let me pick the thing to show you just for a moment. Ta-da! I have an emotional support chicken out of old or unused. This one, I was going to knit one Sophie scarf with this color for a friend, and these are the leftovers of my mom's Sophie scarf, my grandma's sister's. Then there is a little bit from a dress I had, and there is this from the Sophie Shawl, this yarn, this brown yarn, see, the same. And I think there is a little bit of burgundy from the other, from my sister. I think it's here, the burgundy from the Sophie scarf from my sister. This was also a gift knit, very little from a cardigan I knitted for my other sister. I have 2 sisters. One is 2 years younger than me, the other is 10 years younger than me. The brown Sophie scarf and the orange cardigan were for the sister that is 2 years younger than me. And I bought a little brown ones. I think brown suited her. And this is a discontinued cotton yarn that I just bought to finish, just to finish this. The beak is from the mother of my boyfriend's scarf. Oh, these two, this thing too. Isn't she so cute? I keep her close to my work table. She is filled with plastic bags, so you can see. My sister thought I was going to keep her beak open so that we could pull the plastic bags to use it, but no, it was just to fill her. She is there, she makes me company. Her name is Griselda. I wanted to show you because it was leftover of all of that, to see what the yarn also became. Another trendy pattern, by the way. So let's go to the last Sophie item I have, and which is the most popular, most trending today currently, I think, because it's pretty recent. It's my Sophie hood. Yay! I'm going to die. Here it is, you see? So the camera isn't showing it in the best way. I will post some pictures too to show it the color. I think I'm losing the light, so the camera isn't showing the color properly. It's a very light blue with tweedy bits. The tweedy bits are from linen. This is worsted weight. The yarn name is Dandara. It's 85% acrylic, 10% nylon, and 5% linen, which are the tweedy bits. I bought this yarn to knit a dress. I forgot the name now, but I will post a picture. It's by Kim Hargraves. And I wanted it white, but I didn't find white one, and this one had a good price, and so that I could buy the quantity I needed. But when I swatched it didn't look good in cables. It was too much noise. So I knitted a step-by-step sweater by Florence Miller with it. It used up, I think, only 3 skeins of the yarn. I had 9. And then I knitted another Petite Knit pattern, a balloon cardigan, a very big one. It used up, I think, 5 skeins. Very cozy for the winter. They ended up looking like a twin set. Not a vintage twin set, of course, but kind of a modern set. I will post b-roll here. And I still had 2 skins left. And Petite Knit released this pattern in December last year. And I thought that's just what I need, because I already used it to wear my Sophie shawl like that, like a hood. I like to wear not only this shawl, but other shawls that I have, fabric shawls even. I wrap around my head, especially if I'm going out very early in the morning and it's chilly, it's humid, so I cover my head with the shawl and I wrap tail around my neck. And then the hoods came into fashion, so to say. There is the Jose wood and other woods that were also popular last year, this winter, this Northern Hemisphere winter. And Petite Knit released her too, which is the sister to the other patterns. And I said, well, I already knitted 2 of them, why not try this? And I really like it. Of course, I didn't wear it at all because I finished it in December. In December here is summer. There is no reason for it, but I will keep wearing it, and I'm pretty sure I will wear it a lot in the winter when we have winter here. And it will also match my sweater and my cardigan, so it's a full set. Again, it was determined by the quantity of yarn I had, but I do not regret it. And that's it. I think I'm just going to now talk a little bit about them, what I think about all of them, and some tips to knit it, maybe. So, to knit or not to knit a Sophie scarf, shawl, hood, it really depends on your tastes. Because, well, there are tons of other patterns if you don't like garter stitch. This isn't a very much complex pattern, to be honest. There is a similar one to the Sophie scarf, which is named a simple thing. Some people call it a copycat, but to be honest, it's just a garter stitch triangle. And with slipped stitch edges, it's not like the discovery of America. And the lady said that it was an adaptation of her previous shawl, released way before the Sophie shawl, I think. The shawl is in stockinette and the scarf is in garter. That's the difference that there is between them. And the shawl is a little bigger. In fact, she has this pattern, which is a predecessor to her simple thing. So I don't know if the accusations of plagiarism should stand in this case. Also, many people have made videos about the alternatives to why those videos are so popular, because these kinds of scarves are very good to use up little yarn. If you have luxury fiber, you have only one precious skin, maybe it's the only thing you can make with that amount, like it was the case for my first Sophie scarf. And some people don't know how to style it. For this, you will also find videos on YouTube. You will find long form videos, you will find shorts of people tying it up in numerous forms. Be sure, of course, to knit to a length that will allow you to tie it in your preferred form. I have some pictures that I will post here of moments when I styled it. And there are also similar patterns to the Sophie shawl, similar orders to the Sophie hoods. There are many vintage patterns of hoods, of hooded scarves, if you like vintage knitting as I do, and I want to knit some others. I have to say that I knitted a lot of hats last year. I don't know if this construction to make the hoods here is the most beautiful and the one with the best results, but it's definitely more beginner friendly. Many others use short rows, so this one doesn't use short rows. It's all decreases and increases all through the hood. So for this, if you don't know how to make short rows, this would won't demand you to. So it's very much a matter of preference. I don't think they are bad patterns. They are okay patterns. I have to say that the hooded one, the English version of it, wasn't very good in the beginning. Maybe it had translation errors because it brought another kind of increase, different from the other patterns. And as far as I know, it was corrected because in the other languages, it used the same increase as the other patterns, which is much better for the garter stitch and the I-cord edge. I won't tell you why, but if you have knitted this pattern, if you can have access to it, you will understand why it's better. I think the Sophie scarf is a great pattern for gift knitting because it's quick and it's relaxing and it takes a little yarn. What else do you want for a gift knitting? Except, I think, for the price. It's quite expensive for what it is. Other than that, I do recommend the entire Sophie family. And if you have trouble with the increases and decreases, keeping track of them, there are 2 tips that I may give you. One of them is to use stitch markers. Each time you make a decrease, place stitch marker in the increase. If your stitch markers end, you can pick the ones that are behind and move them up. But the tip that I used was to use an online row counter. I have this app here. I'm not affiliated or sponsored nor anything. You can program an entire project in it, and you can set it to warn you every time you reach a certain row to make a certain thing. So if you place there, like say, increase every 10 rows. Of course, when you finish a row, you click a button, and when you reach the 10 rows, it will warn you. Increase, decrease, and then you won't lose the count. I'm not using this app so much this year, but I have used it a lot in the past. And I'm not going to teach you to use it step by step today, but I will link below a video by the Balanced Skin in which she teaches it. That's it for today. If you are following my series of everything I ever knitted, I have separated these 8 projects from my accessories. I will have another video for my other accessories. And I said in my podcast that I wouldn't make those segmented videos anymore, but I will explain in more detail in the podcast again. But I gave up on making an everything I knitted in 2024, before 2024, because of some problems with the footage and the editing process. So I will segment them again in smaller videos with less projects. I think that's it for today. If you like it to see it, comment. Have you ever knitted a Sophie Scarf or shawl or hood? Do you want to? Which yarn did you use? Did you like the pattern? Have you knitted other similar scarves or shawls or hoods that you would recommend other than the Sophie ones for someone? Please talk everything about it. I want to hear it. And come back another time for a little more chat. If you want, check out my other videos about my other knits and my podcast. And well, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.